Here.
Do we have any conflict of interest statements?
No.
No.
Approval of the minutes of the meeting of November 21st, 2019.
Motion to defer?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Item A, correspondence received from Councilman Scott Rakos, Dave Warple, Bill Emerson Sr., Mark Kelwinski, Pete Torres, Anthony Higgs, each requesting $10,000 of gaming funds be allocated for various engineering services with Nice Engineering. I have green sheets by Rakos, Warple, Emerson, Kelwinski, and Torres, and Anthony Higgs, all signed by the council members and the mayor.
I will motion to approve the councilman's request.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Item B, correspondence received from Councilman Dave Warple requesting $15,250 of gaming funds be allocated for construction observation services in the Alexander Avenue and Marshall Avenue lighting project, 173rd Street to I-8094, signed by the councilman and by the mayor.
Motion to approve Councilman Warple's request.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Item C, correspondence received from Councilman Anthony Higgs requesting $20,414.09 of gaming funds be allocated for change order number 1 of the 167th Street Sidewalk Improvement Project, stamped by the councilman and signed by the mayor.
I will motion to approve the councilman's request.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Item D, correspondence received from Klein Avenue Bridge LLC requesting approval to install a ground-mounted trailblazer signage at 2 locations in the city of Hammond.
This came through, good morning. This came through the engineering department. We've been working with the Klein Avenue Bridge project people. They were seeking to put signage on all the entrances to 8094. We told them that most of them were NDOT controlled, but the 2 on Kennedy Avenue, north and southbound, are in the Hammond right-of-way, and so we recommend approval of these signs. You should be able to see what the sign's going to look like. I believe I attached that to the submittal.
Are they seeking approval from,
Yeah, they need our approval to go ahead and put the signs in.
on the locations that we don't have control over? Are they seeking to work with those?
They're working
entities
with
as well?
NDOT on those.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Item F, correspondence received from Chief of Police John Doty, correspondence received from Mr. Dean Button, City Engineer, requesting 2 stop signs be installed on Madison Avenue and Mulberry Street.
I had met with Councilman Emerson, and this is at Edison Park. 3 of the 4 intersections are 4-way stop controlled. This is the only intersection that isn't 4-way stop controlled. The Manual of Uniform Traffic Control Devices suggests that anywhere you're near an area that has a lot of population, schools and parks, that 4-way stops should be permitted without doing a full-blown warrant, and so we would ask that you approve this action.
Okay, I will motion to approve Mr. Button's request.
I'll second.
We also add that we submit this to the street department.
Certainly, and I will amend my motion to send to the street department.
I'll still second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item F, correspondence received from Chief of Police John Doty requesting Officer Edgar Huerta be promoted to rank of 2nd-class patrolman effective December 12th, 2019. That's it.
You good with that? Motion to approve Chief of Police request.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Item G, notice of violation on property located at 1503 Myrtle Avenue. Is property owner present?
Sure.
Good morning.
Yes.
Can you state your name for us, sir?
Mark Santucci?
And are you the property owner?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, my wife too,
Okay.
Constance.
Good morning. Go ahead. Thank you.
Here's your guys' copy. All right.
This is currently a 3-unit apartment building. It was originally a storefront and residence. There's a permit pulled, when was that permit pulled? In 1940 to convert the storefront into a residence. So we have established that it was a 2-unit at one time, permit. At some point, there was a 3rd unit added. Basically, it appears that the wall was put in between the original residence and the storefront, adding a 3rd unit in the middle of the building. Subsequently, there's fire separation issues, electrical issues, and habitable space issues in the attic. All shared walls with no fire blockage, no fire separation. We're asking for removal of the central, middle unit, establishing it as a 2-unit, and whatever fire separation, whatever needs to be done as far as, from a contractor's perspective, to make that a safe 2-unit.
Do you have anything you want to add for us today, sir? Or,
Only that it's been a 3-unit as long as I can remember, and there's hallways separating each unit. The 3 units, there's a hallway in between the second and the third that separates them. And we've been there since 1980, and my father-in-law's been there before that, and we have inspectors come through multiple times over the years, and no one ever had an issue with it. You know, it's been, as of 7 years ago, I updated, inspectors told me I had to upgrade the service from the old electrical to, so I had it upgraded, upgraded the service, electrical, for the 3 units, and it was inspected and everything was okay, and now all of a sudden, it's not okay, I guess.
Kelly, you mentioned that there was some fire separation issues. Is there any, I mean, is it possible for them to get this up to modern code in order to have the 3 units, or?
For a 3-unit, no, we would never meet zoning requirements for a 3-unit. Corner lot, that is, setback issues that wouldn't allow for current zoning issues, for current zoning. Currently, that area is zoned R1U, which would allow for the 2 units. Part of the fire separation issues are in the attic space. They do have a 7-foot clearance in some of the rooms. Those hallways are also areas where there is no fire separation, so a fire 1 unit could easily spread to the 2nd unit or the 3rd, depending where that fire started. There was, although this has been, he's had it for 30 years, there's never been a code enforcement inspection to this degree. There were, at one point, I believe it was actually 6 units. We last had, I believe, Chris, correct me if I'm wrong, we last had it registered as 2. I think there was a provision at some point that allowed the 3rd unit, because it was all occupied by
My
family and.
grandfather owned it, step-grandfather owned it in the 40s, and he had it 40 years he lived there. He lived in the basement. My father lived
It
there.
used to be a
in
4-unit.
But it was family members living in some of the
Yeah,
units,
since-
so typically that's, I mean, when it's registered, you're gonna register
We
it
bought
for
it as a
a
3-unit.
tenant? Okay.
No, yeah,
Right.
my kids didn't start living in there until 2000-something.
I lived on the property with my dad when him and my mother split up since 80. Then I raised my family there 15 years. Then my son lived there 8 years.
So unfortunately, ma'am, so typically what we're doing, when it has to be registered for tenant use, not as a family member or
it was.
No.
owner occupied, it has to be, meets modern-day code, including the fire separation issues for safety. Now, what Kelly's telling me is that it's not actually zoned for that level of occupancy. So even if we brought it up to the code with fire separation, ceiling height issues, it would require a zoning variance. So we don't grant those before this board. That's a totally different commission that handles it. I think that if you wanted to work with our inspectors to go over what would possibly be needed, or what would need to be done in order to bring it up to code compliance, and what the process would be to get the variance, they can work with you on that. But if we're going to register it for more than a 2-unit apartment, it has to meet all of modern-day codes for that.
Can I show you where it is?
Yes, sir.
Says it's all 3 units on here. and-
Sir. And this one is And sir, I'm going to ask you, I'm sorry, I'm going to ask you just to do it on the microphone so we have a record of it, okay? And we'll get these back to you when we're through. Unfortunately, we see this come before us pretty regularly where people purchase it in that state, but it was never inspected and up to code to comply with the city codes for a larger unit.
7 years ago, I paid all that money to get it upgraded.
Who came and did it? The city?
It looks like us.
Can we set this for another time?
Kelly, Kelly, did you get a copy of this original, or this prior violation notice?
If I may?
Why don't we, I think we have some more, did you ever see a copy of this one? Okay, do you want us to set this over so we have some time to review with them, and then we can get some information? Yeah. Do you want to set this to the, further down the line, or?
January sometime?
Yeah. Sir, I think that we want to make sure that our inspection department has time to review this. Obviously, that was some time ago when that
Yeah.
notice was sent to you. And also, if it looks like there's a possibility that you can make some changes that would comply to
Sure.
a proper 3-unit, we'll get you in touch with the people in order to request the variance. I think at this time, we'll make some copies of what you brought to us today, and if we can reset the hearing for January, so we have some time to review and have our inspectors take a look at what information you brought to our attention today, is that okay with you?
That's fine. So then I can't still rent them out yet, or?
Not until we have the clearance and the proper registration on it. So we can do it the first, we're not here next week, but we do meet weekly, so we could do it the first week in, the first Thursday in January? Or is that the second?
Fine.
January
Fine.
2nd, is that okay?
If I get a copy of that citation, the citation's back from 2003,
Yes.
it wouldn't be in our system because I think they were using the system at that point.
Yeah, we'll get a copy of all that, and if you guys can work with them about if they're interested in making the conversion, what the process would be about going to the zoning commission and asking for a variance there, because that will have to go before a different board. Okay.
Why does all that change?
In case we want everybody to have a clear mind instead of being a day after New Year's.
I think he wants to get this rented out, so I don't want to just
Okay, January 2nd?
Okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
When was that subject?
January 2nd, okay? Is that enough time to get through everything? That's fine. And we'll be available, and we'll be here? Okay.
Okay, I'll motion to set this over for status to January 2nd, 2020.
And I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, sir. And if you can stay, we'll get some copies made for the inspection team, and you get your originals back before you go, okay? Thank you.
I don't know what they're copying, the last one.
Okay, item H, correspondence received requesting rental registration hearing. January 16th.
Motion to set this hearing over to January 16th of 2020.
And I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Item I, change order number 3 received from Beam Longest Neff for the Erie-Lackawanna Trail over Calumet Avenue and Conkey Street at an increase in cost of $5,008.50.
Good morning again. This is related to the additional painting that was required on the Conkey Street Bridge. There was some confusion in the bid about the contractor's work, whether we had proposed a two-tone paint on the bridge. There was some dispute. We went through the NDOT normal system through the force account work, which means that they perform the work through specific observation, and the time is recorded to do that work because they had provided us a proposal significantly in increase of the $5,000. This has been agreed to by the department, the Indiana Department of Transportation, and the contractor, and it does not put us over budget. We remain under budget on this project. So I'd ask for your approval on this change order.
I will motion to approve change order number 3.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item J, engagement agreement with HWC Engineering, Inc. for engineering and architectural services needed for development of the Fire Station Number 2, 2211 Calumet Avenue.
Good morning, Madam President and Board.
Morning.
This is for initial engineering services. I did confirm with Mr. Cheney from HWC this morning that this was a not-to-exceed amount, and that also if any of the services that are listed on the contract have previously been done by any other department of the city, that would come off of that as well, like geotech, or I think there's other phase 1, things like that, environmental. So if anything's been done prior, we'll give them those documents, and that'll come off.
Okay.
Otherwise, we have no problem with the agreement, and we would request approval.
Okay.
And I believe
I've
you're dealing with
reviewed it as well, so-
and I believe you're dealing with the
The funding
funding
source,
of it,
yes.
yep.
I'm okay with it.
I will motion to approve the engagement agreement with HWC Engineering.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Item K, right-of-way permit from Wide Open West submitted for approval from the engineering department. Has this been reviewed by engineering? Yes, it has. Okay. All right.
Okay, motion to approve the right-of-way permit.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item L, agreement with First Group Engineering, Inc. for design and right-of-way services in the Michigan Street and Indianapolis Boulevard intersection improvements at a cost not to exceed $120,901.07.
This project is a NERC-funded construction project. I want to say it's about $400,000. Our commitment was to pay for the engineering and right-of-way services as part of this project, and the 20% match of the construction. This is an improvement to the Indianapolis Boulevard and US 20 Michigan Street intersection, where we are proposing to add a northbound right turn lane to eastbound US 20. In addition to that, NDOT has agreed to include a future project to include a second left-hand westbound to southbound Indianapolis Boulevard improvement. The level of service on this intersection is very poor. I want to say it's an E at this stage in the rating of that intersection, and therefore it was real important. It scored really high with NERC for funding, and we would ask that you approve this agreement.
So Dean, this isn't a district project at all, and
No.
we don't have any kind of funding arrangement in place yet?
There's no district. It's not a district, so my suggestion was either shared gaming or,
Has mayor approved this?
well, he approved the original request to do the submittal for NERC to fund the project.
This is just for design services, right?
Yeah, design and right-of-way. Mhm.
Okay, I mean, that's a big number just for design, and we went through that yesterday, a bunch of projects coming out of that account, so
Yeah, we hadn't reached this project
when
at
is
that
this
time.
one going to hit?
The construction on this project is 23, but
But
because of the federal
this will-
system, it takes some time to get to that point.
When,
2023?
This will start right away for engineering
so the
and
billing
right-of-way
will
services.
come through,
The billings will start in 2020, but the project won't. So I said 23, it's NDOT fiscal year 23. It's actually calendar year, second half of 22. So the construction won't happen until late 22, our participation, but the engineering has to happen before that because of all the federal aid steps we have to make to get to that point. We have to do an environmental, we have to define the right-of-way take, we have to negotiate with the property owner, and we have to actually, obviously, do the design.
just figure out that one.
Okay, I will motion to approve the agreement with First Group Engineering.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 6, item matters from board members. We've got a few today. I believe we have the hearing on the business license revocation for Coach's Corner. Is the business owner present?
Yeah,
Good morning.
good morning.
Can you state your name for us, please, sir?
Michael A. Gella.
Thank you. And I'm going to hand this over to Attorney Smith and Attorney Levinson.
Sure, we can start. You can leave that there. You can use my table, whatever you want. Madam President and Board, Kevin Smith on behalf of the city. I'm also here with Attorney Shauna Levinson on behalf of the Police Department. Mr. Farrell has written a letter to the board requesting revocation of Coach's Corner business license. This matter came to the Law Department's attention after some incidents that occurred both in the bar and in the parking lot. There was a well-documented shooting there recently. However, in reviewing the documentation that was sent to the city regarding the business license, we have some problems with it. Specifically, the 2018 application was in the name of a Diana Rodriguez on an 8830 Idlewild address in Highland. She indicated it was renewal. That license was issued on 1/5, in and around January of 2018. It looks like it was license number 36580, January 22nd of 2018. Then, on February 5th of 2019, Mr. Gella applied for a license. He indicated it was a renewal. It appears that the ownership of the property was transferred to Mr. Gella, so that the renewal would not be appropriate. The key to that and the importance of that is that with the new business, the controller's office, the police department, the fire department, everybody goes through a review, a background check, internal review regarding zoning. I know the building department takes a look to make sure that the number of tables and the square footage is appropriate for the building. That wasn't done because he's indicated it was a renewal, which was false. Additionally, he's indicated it was a corporation, yet he has listed no corporate name. The applicant's name is him individually. We did find a Galaxy Properties LLC listed for Mr. Gella. However, that's a 2031 US 41 Cherville address. The address here on the application is 9580 Claremonte Drive in St. John. So there's a confusion there, and it also appears to be false. If you're applying as a corporation, you need to list your corporation. Because again, we want to do a background check. We want to find out if the corporation is valid. We want to find out who the other owners are. We want to see the corporate book. None of that was done in this case. As you know, this is a property that's open 7 days a week. It's open until 3 a.m. And with this kind of false application, and the fact, and doubled with the fact of the situation that's occurred at Coach's Corner recently, we have a serious concern about its ability to operate lawfully within the city of Hammond. Additionally, Mr. Farrell has found out that there is another business operating in there by the names of Windy City Pizza, or Windy City Pizza 2, I'm not sure which one, and that business does not have a business license with the city at all. Now, that may be separate from Mr. Gella. He may be making rent from this Windy City Pizza, but it shows a pattern. They're absolutely trying to pull the wool over the city's eyes. They've got two businesses in there, one with Mr. Gella's false application, Windy City Pizza 2 with no application for a business license. So with those two things in effect, we would ask that the city consider revoking this license at this time. I'll let Mr. Gella respond, and then Ms. Levinson has additional information regarding from the police department regarding this property if the board sees fit to hear that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, so, yeah, that's my application.
Did you complete that application, sir, yourself?
I did. I don't know who helped me with that, but yeah, I'm a new business owner as far as the bar goes, you know. So I did have Galaxy Properties LLC that was created with my attorney.
So you understand that we have some discrepancy
I do.
within the application there. As far as the business license goes, it does not follow the property. So if it's a new corporation, if it's a new business owner, that individual needs to apply as a new registered owner so we can go through the proper background check and inspections by all the departments as any new business would.
Can I ask, Madam President?
Yes.
Mr. Geller, what company is your liquor license? Or is it?
Galaxy Properties.
Yeah, and so that's, you know, as you can imagine, that's another issue that we have, because you've got a liquor license and operating at the property that doesn't match up with the business license. So the question would be whether or not Mr. Geller is operating it individually or as a company. So you'd have to answer that.
It's under Galaxy Properties.
Okay. And we completed the business license in your individual name with that information, is that correct?
Well, the business name, I put Coach's Corner.
Okay, but as the applicant, it's your name with, is that your home address that's listed?
It is.
Okay, so not the corporation Galaxy's address?
Correct. And that 2031, that's my, that's my corporate address that I use for, I have another business, I have a surveillance business that I do also.
Okay. And what about this Windy City Pizza? Is that,
He's a renter, and I guess he's been there for 5 years, 6 years.
okay. So we're also going to need him to come in and file for a business license so that we can make sure that they're up to code as well. Ms. Levinson, did you want to add anything?
Just for the sake of background, and I understand that the major consideration for today is in fact the business license application, but from the police department perspective, I wanted to make you aware that this property has been troublesome for quite some time. The chief has come out himself and warned them personally that it is taking up too much of police resource. There's been an inordinate amount of calls. Every month this year, you see extra squads being called out and just a constant slew of calls. When the incident occurred on November 24th at 2:30 in the morning, the shooting, I believe at least when the police report was taken, a very poor judgment, in my opinion, took place to have that evening a night of mourning, and what ensued that next night was two gangs rivaling, closing down Kennedy Avenue, using up all the resources of the police department. My understanding is that the excise police, from the commander of excise, did issue a citation last week against the property for a common nuisance, and I just wanted to make the board aware of that.
Thank you.
I have not met with the chief. I wasn't aware of, issues that have happened here.
I apologize.
Yes,
One
sir.
additional thing is that there was a notice delivered personally by a master sergeant at the Hammond Police Department on December 4th asking that the establishment answer a series of questions, and that was due to be submitted on December 16th. As of this morning, we still have not received it.
The questionnaire was hand-delivered. I delivered that to the police department myself, and I did that last Friday. And they stamped it that they received it for me.
We haven't, I mean, it could just be in transit for
Yeah.
police, but.
Okay,
All right.
all right.
We've made a lot of changes at Coach's Corner since we've taken over, as far as security goes. Some of these incidents, this incident that happened on the 24th at 1:25 in the morning, there was no fight in the bar, there was no scuffle. I mean, I have the footage, and I've turned everything over to PD and worked with excise. I mean, full cooperation, whatever I can do. This happened outside. I mean, I can't search people's cars and.
Sir, I will say that, that information is purely for the boards and just kind of background.
Okay.
We aren't here today to discuss that in any way, but it is obviously one of the factors that we weigh when we issue a business license is the police inspection. So if we're having issues at the establishment, it's something that would maybe give us pause in issuing a license if it continues to be a nuisance. I will state that on the business license, I know you said you're new to it and are trying to make some changes, but it does state on there that you are responsible as a business owner for being aware of the city ordinances and codes, and that you're certifying that all the information that you put on the application is in fact true. So I think that in consideration of the information that was brought before us today, if you have something to add?
Yeah, I was just going to say that, my understanding is that, speaking with Ms. Levinson, that there is going to be a liquor hearing on January 8th regarding the license, and that the city will have remonstrances at that.
Okay.
And so I'm wondering if we could suggest to Mr. Geller that he resubmit a application.
I think we need to
and
have a
then
new
we-
application submitted. It's
And
if
then we
don't
maybe
have one
hold in
current.
advance our request regarding revocation pending maybe what happens at the liquor board hearing on the 8th, because it'll be in 2 weeks. I mean, it's up to the board, obviously, but it's the city's position that we'd like to revoke the license. But I think we may want to defer to see what happens at the liquor board hearing first.
Okay. I mean, I certainly do think we need to have an application on file that has the correct information.
Absolutely.
I think that as a board, since he did actually pay to have the application done the first time, it was just done incorrectly as a renewal, it is the same cost. I think we can waive that application fee this time.
Sure.
And have him complete the application with the correct information on it, and then we will set this over for a status following the liquor board hearing.
Yeah, that'd be great if maybe even that week or the week after.
16th, is that?
The 8th would be the 16th? Sure.
That'd be 8 days beyond.
Yep. And then I'd like, the other request we'd have would be, once the application is submitted, and I assume Mr. Geller is going to do that quickly.
Yes.
What happens with a new application is building goes in, they inspect, make sure everything's accurate with the tables and everything. So I just want to let you know that building's going to be giving you a call, Mr. Kearney, to schedule that inspection, so we'll have that for the board on the 16th too.
It will also have fire and
Yep.
PD do their inspections
Yep.
as well. So is the 16th enough time to get all of those done, do we believe?
I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah, so-
So we have everything in front of us before we see Mr. Geller again? Okay. Do I have a motion to request a new business application be submitted with the fee waived and set for status on January 16th, 2020?
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, sir. If you would like to stay, we can give you the information. We'll have to give him something that says it waives the fee for the application, correct? You can take care of that today if you'd like to?
Sure.
Okay, thank you. We're almost done. Okay, any other matters from other board members?
I do. I have a request from a homeowner, 7200 Block Holman Avenue, on Christmas Day, would like to restrict the no parking on the west side of Holman to allow parking for a Christmas party. We've done this, I think, the past couple of years,
Okay.
and,
No issues with, plowing or anything like that if we have a snowy one?
well, I would hope that they would move their vehicles if that was the case, but I don't see snow in the forecast.
Okay.
But I would motion to approve their request.
Christmas Day, 7300 Holman.
Yes,
Okay, I'll take care of it. I will second that request.
thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
No, no,
Doesn't say.
no. As long as they have the letter, they'll cover the signs. There's only 2 no parking signs they'll cover.
Okay. Any other
And
matters?
secondly, we have 5th District Lighting Project Belmont from 172 to 171st and 170th from White Oak to Northcott Avenue. Design agreement with HWC Engineering. It's been vetted by Mr. Smith, signed by Mr. Button.
Who's
Mr. Button.
Oh, Fifth District.
This is for 5th District Lighting by Councilman Werpel. The green sheet is, I'm sorry, the request for appropriating the money, if that's the appropriate term, was approved, subject to the mayor's sign off on that.
The
You'll see that.
councilman has signed it
Oh, yeah.
already?
Oh, yeah, he's very much wanting to move forward on this project. The appropriation agreement should be with the mayor, and it's just in processing.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve, subject to the approved green sheet?
So moved.
A second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Anything else from you guys?
Just a vocab word, that's it? What
Um,
else
I
we got?
will also note that we will be canceling the meeting next Thursday, that is the
6th.
26th. And we will be back in business on January 2nd, 2020. Did you have something else for us?
You were going to hopefully go to matters of other department heads?
Okay, yep.
Yeah.
Item 7, matters from other department heads.
Thank you. Just a notification to the board. I found out this morning by a call from the Indiana Department of Transportation that the traffic signal at Lear will be active at 10 a.m. this morning, thankfully. And the approach entrance from the north from the Nickty train station will be open. And so that signal will be fully functional in about 30 minutes or so.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other matters from other board members or the representatives? No? Any new business? No? Old business? We have item AA, status of property located at 419 Goslin. Good morning.
Morning, Board.
Yeah, I think so.
Madam President, did you guys have another copy of the findings and orders? I wasn't sure if you guys still had it.
Doesn't seem
It's on
like
the
it's
back,
there.
It's on the
Is
back
it in
end.
the back?
It's on the back
There
end.
it is.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, where are we at with this one?
We have, I've spoken with the owner, Ms. Camarena, and we have come to an agreement.
Okay, and that is?
We converting the storefront? She will be converting the storefront back to a commercial use and rendering the property a commercial property with a one-unit apartment.
Okay.
Very nice.
Do we need a status on this, or are you going to follow up within the department?
We'll just,
Okay.
Yeah.
Everything okay? Did you want to add anything, ma'am?
I just wanted to make sure, I have tenants in the front, that if I could have that extension like until the springtime so that we can get through the holidays and the winter, and then I can, ask them to start looking for an apartment.
Kelly, you good with that?
I'm sorry.
So she's gonna work with us to do the conversion back to the commercial space for one of the units, but it's currently occupied. Are we comfortable giving her some time to give the tenants notice?
What kind of time are we talking about?
Just till April, till this April 15th is when I think we have to renew them, so I won't have to renew them.
Basically, you're going to occupy it till April 15th, and you won't renew, you won't register it as,
Right. I
You're
won't,
gonna
I
go
won't register it further moving forward.
in the meantime, you're going to be getting contractors to get
Right.
estimates on
Right.
conversion?
The only thing I would say is that the liability remains on her. You know, the city's not going to assume any liability by agreeing to let the tenant stay in what we consider an illegal space, because it should be commercial. So as long as I assume she's got insurance.
Yes.
If anything happens in there, that's going to be on her, because we're not assuming any liability by letting her.
And the other apartment's
stay.
vacant in the back, so I don't have anybody in there.
In light of that information, would we like a status hearing just to make sure we're all good?
Is the work going to start before April 15th or no?
No, I just want to give the tenants time.
Can we get a status in?
But I'll start with the contract. I'll see.
Status beginning of March, give you a chance to get estimates
Sure,
and game
absolutely.
plan?
Yep.
That'd be fair.
Maybe the first
Yeah.
meeting in March?
Okay.
Which is the 5th.
Okay, March 5th.
Okay, thank you.
All right. I am.
Madam President, there was a paper for that 1503 Myrtle. We need to get that back to Mr. Santucci. He has to leave.
Oh, okay. Can we
need
get somebody to
copies, though.
copy
We
it?
need copies.
Oh, yes.
All right. Do we do a motion on that one?
No, not this one. I will motion to set over for status March 5th, 2020.
And I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Is he gonna have some copies in for us? Okay. All right.
Feeling all right? A little haggard, man. A little haggard, all right?
It's been working too much. Okay, where are we at now? Item BB, status on dangerous dog.
Oh, I'm fine. Good morning. Kristen Hill on behalf of the city, and the Wagners are here.
Morning. Morning.
Morning.
I think that what we need to do at this point is the board is going to need to make a determination as to whether or not there needs to be compliance with the dangerous dog ordinances or not. So we're asking that this matter gets set for hearing. Due to my schedule, I'm asking that we set this for January 23rd if the board is available to accommodate us on that day.
Any issues with that? Do you have anything you'd like to state for us today, or are you comfortable with us setting this for hearing in January?
I guess we might as well speak. This matter has been going on for a while, and I think we've made a reasonable effort to comply with animal control. Our biggest problem is that we can't get the required insurance. Animal control wanted personal liability in the amount of $300,000. And when we went to get the personal liability insurance, we got a quote for $100,000. And in order to get it increased to $300,000, they wanted us to submit an affidavit. So part of the affidavit, they requested how many dogs we owned, and I said 3. And then the next question was, were they declared dangerous? So currently, we have a declaration from animal control that says they're dangerous. So once I went to, provide the correct information, it said that I couldn't be insured. So this hearing that we're trying to schedule is basically going to be on a moot issue. I can't get the insurance. So I don't really know why we would go ahead with the hearing. I think
I think that the issue at this point, and the city is taking this position for liability purposes, animal control has already issued a declaration that the dog is dangerous. The Wagners have appealed that, and they're entitled to this board's determination as to whether or not the dog is dangerous or not. It's not something that, after consultation with Mr. Smith, that we believe is in the city's best interest to just back away from without an adjudication of whether this is a dangerous dog or not. We acknowledge that the Wagners have attempted and have cooperated tremendously in an effort to lift this. And right now, it appears that if the dog isn't a dangerous dog, then a couple of things happen. First, apparently they're going to be eligible potentially to get the $300,000 of insurance. Number two, they're technically, under the ordinance, not required to have the $300,000 of insurance because it's not a dangerous dog, okay? But if this dog is dangerous, as determined by the board, then they've got to get the $300,000 of insurance to comply or remove the dogs. So I think that the only way forward here is for the board to make a determination. I don't think that it's a moot issue because there is a letter sitting out there from Animal Control, a determination that this is a dangerous dog. They are entitled to an adjudication of that issue. So I think the board is going to need to hear evidence to determine whether this dog is dangerous or not. At that point, it may be moot, but certainly not now.
Where are we at with the the property owner and the fence?
So we decided to go with the kennel. We had an option of a fence or a kennel. So we did the kennel for now. And in the spring, we're planning to put up a fence too, just for added security. So the kennel's up.
So every time the dogs are out, the dogs are in the kennels, one at a time, I think is what you've told us previous, right? They walk outside the house, they got the muzzle on. No, I mean, I agree with you, Ms. Hill. We probably do need to hear it all out, because I think there's some facts Animal Control has that we probably haven't heard yet.
Yeah, there needs to be an adjudication. That's going to resolve this insurance issue. So they have been cooperative and they've been trying. The city does not say otherwise. So, yes, and they have obtained $100,000 of coverage, but the ordinance requires $300,000.
Pardon?
Are we not prepared to have that hearing today? Is it?
I think the city would like the victims to be here, or to give the victims the opportunity to present testimony. So that's why we'd ask for the 23rd, and that's because of my schedule. I have to be in juvenile court 3 out of the 4 weeks, 3 out of the 4 Thursdays in January, so.
Yeah, see,
Okay.
we set it over for 30 days. Okay. We did.
Well, hopefully at that time, we will be able to make a determination on this issue, and that way, we don't have to have you guys keep coming back. But I do think that is a good point, that we do have to give them an opportunity to be present. We do recognize that you've been with us a few weeks now, and it seems that you are making an effort, so we do appreciate that. If there's not any issue with you guys attending on the 23rd, we will set it for that day and hopefully have a final determination for you and be able to move forward. Okay?
Thank you.
Do I have a motion to set for hearing on January 23rd with notification being sent to all parties, all interested parties on the matter?
So move.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Couldn't see him. Okay. The meeting is open to the public. Is anybody wishing to speak today?
Chris Moore? Got anything?
Anything? No? Okay. All right, then I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.